My husband, Richard, and I were at the annual Sterling Corporation Gala. This wasn't just any party. It was the social event of the year, with over 300 of the city's most influential people. Richard, my husband of 5 years, was on the verge of closing a $900 million deal with Sterling's CEO, Mr. Harrison. He was practically vibrating with excitement and nervous energy all evening. I was doing my best to be the supportive wife, mingling and making small talk, ensuring everyone saw us as the perfect power couple. Everything seemed to be going perfectly. Richard was charming, I was smiling, and Mr. Harrison seemed genuinely impressed. We were all standing in a circle, laughing at a joke Richard had just told. He had a glass of expensive red wine in his hand, gesturing grandly as he spoke. I was holding a glass of champagne, feeling a quiet sense of pride. His deal would solidify his company's future and, by extension, ours. Then, it happened. I made a light-hearted comment about a clumsy moment Richard had last week, trying to add to the jovial atmosphere. It was an innocent remark, the kind of teasing couples do all the time. But Richard's face darkened instantly. His smile vanished, replaced by a cold fury I'd only seen a few times in private. Before I could even process the change in his mood, he drew his arm back and deliberately splashed the entire glass of red wine right in my face. The cold liquid shocked me, and the dark red stained my white designer gown. Gasps echoed around us. The laughter died, replaced by a stunned, horrified silence. I stood there, dripping, humiliated, with wine running into my eyes and down my neck. 300 pairs of eyes were fixed on me. I could feel the heat of shame crawling up my skin, far more intense than the sting of the wine. Richard just stared at me, his expression unreadable, before turning back to a speechless Mr. Harrison as if nothing had happened. "Well," Richard said, his voice strained, "shall we continue our discussion in your office?" But no one was listening. All eyes were on me, the woman publicly shamed by her own husband. I wanted the ground to swallow me whole. I couldn't look at anyone. I just turned and fled, pushing through the silent crowd, the sound of my own choked sobs loud in my ears. I ran out of the ballroom, leaving behind the wreckage of my dignity and the biggest night of my husband's career. Back home, I scrubbed my face raw, trying to wash away the stain and the humiliation. The beautiful white dress was ruined, a brutal symbol of the evening. When Richard finally came home hours later, he didn't apologize. He was furious. He blamed me for embarrassing him, for making a scene, for costing him the deal. He yelled that my stupid little joke had made him look weak in front of Mr. Harrison. He said I ruined everything. I didn't argue. I didn't cry. I just listened, a cold numbness settling over me. In that moment, I realized our marriage was just as much of a facade as our perfect couple act at the party. It wasn't about love or partnership. It was about his image, his success, his needs. I was just an accessory, and tonight, I'd become a liability. That night, I packed a bag. I took only what was mine and left the expensive life he had built around me. I didn't leave a note. My dramatic, wine-soaked exit from the party was message enough. The next few days were a blur. I stayed with my sister, ignoring the dozens of angry texts and voicemails from Richard. The city's gossip columns were having a field day. Photos of my tear-streaked, wine-stained face were everywhere. The headlines were brutal. Billionaire's meltdown at gala. Wife humiliated in wine attack. I avoided looking at them, but the story was inescapable. I felt like a public spectacle. Then, about a week after I left, I got an unexpected email. The sender was an assistant to Mr. Harrison, the CEO of Sterling Corporation. The subject line simply read, "A message from Mr. Harrison." My heart hammered in my chest. I thought it was going to be a letter of pity, or perhaps even a scolding for my role in the scene. With trembling hands, I opened it. The email was short and to the point. Mr. Harrison expressed his sincere regret for what I had endured at the gala. He said what he witnessed showed him a side of Richard's character that was deeply concerning. He wrote, and I'll never forget these words, "Business is built on trust and respect. A man who cannot show basic respect to his own wife in public cannot be trusted with a partnership worth nearly $1 billion. He then informed me that, effective immediately, Sterling Corporation had terminated all negotiations with my husband's company. The deal was off. I stared at the screen, reading the words over and over. A slow smile spread across my face. It wasn't about the money. It was about the validation. Mr. Harrison saw what I had been blind to for years. Richard's cruelty, his disrespect, his explosive temper. The very act Reacher used to humiliate me, to put me in my place, was the act that had cost him everything he ever wanted. The news broke the next day. Richard's company's stock plummeted. His investors were pulling out. His empire, built on a foundation of ego and intimidation, was starting to crumble. He tried to call me, hundreds of times. The texts turned from angry to desperate, begging me to help him fix it, to talk to Mr. Harrison, to put on a united front. But I didn't answer. His downfall was his own doing. He had poured the wine, and now he had to deal with the stain. I filed for divorce. The process was messy, but I had the ultimate leverage. I had Mr. Harrison's email. I had the truth. I walked away with a settlement that gave me a fresh start, far away from the world of galas and empty smiles. I started my own small business, a little flower shop, something I'd always dreamed of. It was quiet and simple, and it was all mine. Sometimes a customer will come in and recognize me. From the old headlines, they'll ask if I'm the wine lady. I just smile and say yes. I'm not ashamed of that night anymore. That night, my husband tried to ruin me in front of 300 people. Instead, he revealed his true self to the one person who mattered most for his deal, and in doing so, has set me free. Turns out, my public humiliation was my private liberation, and that's a story worth more than $900 million. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content just like this. See you next time.